So, Ekika, who needs to start the meeting?
Madam, as per the you start the first condolence now. We have 1-2 minute condolence, then we'll
Okay.
move on. Yeah.
Okay. So, before the webinar, we very fondly remember a very famous pediatrician of our town, Dr. V.M. Bhatia. He was famous, a wonderful person. He used to do a lot of charity also. And his wife, Yogita, is a gynecologist. He has 2 sons. So he lost his battle to COVID, and now he's no more with us. May his soul rest in peace. And for him, we are going to keep silence for a minute, and then we start the meeting. Please remember him. Yes, Pratikji, you can start.
Yeah. So very good evening, doctors. On behalf of MOGS and Harmonica Documentaries, I am Pratik along with my marketing team and our UP sales team. We welcome all the delegates for this panel discussion of medical management of adenomyosis. Today we have with us Dr. Kusum Verma as a MOGS president. Dr. Kusum Verma is the director of Ashish Nursing Home and the MAU founder. And she is also the MAU Obstetric Gynec Society and the MAU Nursing Home Association. So, doctor, over to you. Ma'am, please unmute yourself, Dr. Kusum.
बंद कर दीजिए जनरेटर. अच्छा, ये नहीं चलेगा.
Good evening, all of you. Welcome to this webinar, sponsored by Documentaries Harmonica Division. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
कोरोना काल में हमारा मतलब एक सीनियर जूनियर ही करियर से तो बहुत जूनियर था जो आज चला गया, जिसके लिए भी हमने थोड़ा सा श्रद्धांजलि दी. ये बड़ा डिफिकल्ट टाइम है हम लोगों के लिए. डेली हम लोग अपने जूनियर या सीनियर को खोते जा रहे हैं. डॉक्टर्स के लिए मेडिकल फ्रेटर्निटी में ये बड़ा वो है, और फिर भी लोग डॉक्टर्स को इतना यूज करते हैं कि डॉक्टर्स अच्छे से नहीं देखते हैं. फिर भी हम लोग इतना लगे रहते हैं, इतना सारा टाइम देते हैं, वो तो एक अलग बात है. आज मैं इस वेबिनार में पैनल मॉडरेटर डॉक्टर एकिका सिंह को इंट्रोड्यूस कर रही हूँ. ये हमारे मऊ की आइकन है. इन्होंने मऊ को इतनी ऊंचाइयों पे पहुंचाया है, इसके लिए हम बहुत गौरव का अनुभव करते हैं. फॉक्सी में मऊ की एक पहचान बनी है इनके चलते. सी सेक्रेटरी मऊ ऑब्स्टेट्रिक सोसाइटी, एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर ऑफ UPISR स्टेट चैप्टर, member of Foxy Young Talent Promotion Committee 2022, member of ISAR, IFS, ACE, Foxy Consensus, She has presented many papers and posters in national and international conference and contributed in books and magazines. She has participated as national and international conference as faculty member. She got many awards: Champion of ISAR 2020, Wonder Foxian Award by Foxy 2019. She was awarded the Foxian Unsung Award in 2018. She was awarded Health Icon of Varanasi by Hindustan Print Media. She got Best Paper Award in EPCOG 2018 and Best Prize in Paper Presentation हुआ ISAR 2019। एक बार फिर मैं डॉक्टर एकिका को बहुत बहुत बधाई देती हूँ। अभी उनका को एडिटर में नाम आया है जर्नल के, और ये हमारे लिए बड़ी गौरव की बात है कि हमारे मऊ का नाम, हमारे यहाँ एक छोटी सी जगह में एक इन्होंने IVF सेंटर स्टार्ट किया है। ये बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है हम सबके लिए कि इतनी छोटी जगह को मऊ को लोग जानने लगे। ओवर टू डॉक्टर एकिका सिंह।
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your humble words for me. और मऊ मैम छोटी जगह नहीं है, मऊ has become a big health hub और यहाँ आसपास के इलाकों के लिए it has become a boom। और कोविड में हम लोगों ने ये करके भी दिखाया लोगों को, सभी डॉक्टर्स ने। Just before starting, I want to say few words for Dr. Kusum Parna. She is senior most here. I think यहाँ एक nursing home का जो start मऊ में शुरू हुआ है, that was done by madam, and she is always there as a senior to support us. Whatever, whenever I have any problem regarding anything, if I approach her, she is always there for me. So thank you, ma'am, for your humble words. Now, back to the track. I must say, we all are grieved by the loss. And daily when we get up, we see something or other on Facebook or anywhere that we are losing our bright doctors. I just have no words for it कि ये कब थमेगा। बस एक उम्मीद है कि जल्द थमेगा और हम सब एक दूसरे का साथ देके इस चीज से बाहर निकलेंगे। And now on my topic, that is medical management of adenomyosis. It's a very interesting topic. Basically, adenomyosis को जब बात की जाती है तो उसके साथ सिर्फ एक ही वर्ड लोग जोड़ते हैं, that is hysterectomy. Adenomyosis हो गई तो hysterectomy. So is it like that? And what if it is in a younger age or maybe in a female who has no child? तो क्या किया जा सकता है? What are the options which we have? So we have a panel discussion, case-based panel discussion on medical management of adenomyosis. And with me, I have very esteemed and knowledgeable panelists with me who will be with me. We will discuss the case, and it's a simple basic case on which I want everyone's opinion कि वो किस तरह से उसको manage करते हैं. So I would like to call Mr. Pratik, can you show me the CVs of the panelists one by one? Dr.
Yes,
Amrita
yes,
Jaipuria. Dr. Amrita Jaipuria, ma'am. Okay. So, Jaipuria ma'am, Amrita ma'am, ma'am, पहले मैं just before to start this, I just want to tell you, if you remember, मैंने आपसे एक अपनी केस स्टडी के लिए आपसे डिस्कस किया था and I wanted to go for publication for it. तो मैम मैं उसके लिए आपको बताना चाह रही हूँ कि it is being selected International Journal of Reproductive Biomedicine. Final review complete हो चुका है and most probably in coming 2 months it will be published in International Journal. And thank you for helping me that time. It's such a humble gesture of being a senior and so helpful. Thank you, ma'am, for that. And now,
Thank you.
Let me introduce Madam is President Gorakhpur Obstetrics and Gynae Society, and she is presently affiliated to Ganga Hospital Gorakhpur and Ahmed Hospital Gorakhpur. Madam was past secretary of Gorakhpur, and now she is president. She was vice president, treasurer, secretary, and then she is being there for all the Gorakhpur doctors right from the beginning. And she has her original publication also in World Journal of Pharma Research and International Journal of Medicine Sciences. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us for this session. Now we have Dr. Pratima Pandey. She is a graduate and postgraduate from KGMU Lucknow. She was in NRLY Hospital Lucknow, and at present she is running her own center. She received IUI and hysteroscopy training from Mumbai. She has received various medals and awards during her undergraduate and postgraduate period. She is a very active member of Obs and Gynae Society Gorakhpur, and she represented Gorakhpur in North Zone Yuva Foxy. Foxy has talent competition also. Besides that, she participates in a lot of social works. So I welcome Dr. Pratima Pandey, ma'am. Ma'am, are you there? Dr. Pratima?
Yes, she was there. She was there.
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Welcome aboard, ma'am. Now I'd like to call Dr. Rita Singh. She is Associate Professor, BD Medical College, Scientist Secretary of Gorakhpur Obs and Gynae Society, and Master Trainee in RRTC and MYCM. She is gold medal She received gold medal for poster in UPCOG 2007. I welcome you, Dr. Rita.
Good
as a
evening.
panel.
Good evening to all of you.
Now I would like to call Dr. Babita Shukla. She is ex-secretary, treasurer, scientist secretary of Gorakhpur Obs and Gynae Society, clinical secretary of ISO Park Gorakhpur chapter, organizing secretary CEFOC Saving Mothers Conference 2019, ex-vice president IMA Gorakhpur, director of Shukla Hospital. She actively participated as a faculty in many national and zonal conferences and published papers in journals. I welcome you, Dr. Babita, for the meet, please. And now, Pratik, will you be sharing the screen or should I share that?
Ma'am, just give me a minute.
Yeah, sure. I would share it from my side.
Okay, ma'am, no issue.
Okay.
Yes, yes, ma'am, it's absolutely fine.
Okay. So today we just have kept 2 or 3 cases, ma'am, and I want आप सबका जो एक review है उनके ऊपर या आप सब लोग क्या experience करते हैं? Well, the prevalence of adenomyosis is up to 70%. Why it is said? Because as the age increases, the chances of adenomyosis also increase. So it is more of a problem more than 35 years of age. But that doesn't mean that we will not find adenomyosis in a young patient. So here's the first case. She is patient age 18, suffering severe pain during menstruation, fever, nausea, vomiting. Her diagnosis was nodular adenomyosis. I've just come straight away on the diagnosis. She had gone through series of tests and on an ultrasound, on an MRI, they found out that she has a small nodular adenomyosis. So what could be the treatment protocol according to any one of you, which could be suggested to this patient? Anyone can talk.
I mean, for now, she should be on medical treatment only. And initially, she can be given simple drugs, just NSAIDs kind of drugs during her periods. And if her symptoms do not respond, if she doesn't respond to that, then we can put her on the hormonal therapy.
Anyone else, ma'am?
Yes,
Anything else?
so it is a case of adolescent girl with nodular adenomyosis. It is not very common presentation. Mostly, as you told, it is a adenomyosis is a disease of plus 40 or plus 35. But nowadays, more and more adolescent and young married who have not conceived before, they are coming with this type of adenomyosis. So we have to remember one thing: adenomyosis, the endometriosis, and PCOD, they are chronic disorders. And we have to tell patients that there are 2 options, medical and surgical. And as much, because they are chronic disorder, we have to counsel our patient that our main goal of the whole management protocol is to maximize the duration of the medical management and intervene by surgical management only when there is a required, like if there is a fertility is required, or when the medical therapy is not responding, then only there is an option of surgical management. So the medical management first and the best option for this patient. Now, what medical management? As the SEOG says, the first line of management is NSAID with or without hormonal suppressive therapy. And we should tell the patient there, we should know that this is hormonal suppressive therapy that will never eliminate the disease, that will suppress, they may reduce the volume, they will cause the remission of the symptoms. But as well as we will stop the medical treatment, there is always a recurrence, because it does, medical therapy is suppressive, it will never eliminate the disease. So the first line of treatment is NSAID with hormonal suppressive therapy, and the hormonal drug of our choice is COC or the progestin. COC and progestin, they both are almost equally effective in remission of symptoms like dysmenorrhea or the AUB. And if the patient, it takes time for response, it may take 6 to 9 months. You have to give it for a long time. It is not like that after 1 2 month patient is coming, the symptom relief is progressive. So you'll have to give it at least for 6 to 9 months. And if patient doesn't respond to it, then only the other second line of management medical treatment is GnRH agonist can be advised to this patient.
Yeah, I agree here. Agree with you, Dr. Rita, because as far as the adolescent girls are concerned, the guardians are very much concerned as to it will affect their reproductive outcome or will be they able to conceive. और एक चीज और जो होती है गांव के लोगों में कि इतनी अंग्रेजी दवा खा रही है, आगे चल के इसको बच्चे बहुत गर्मी चढ़ जाएगी, बच्चा नहीं होगा. These are real concern and we have to counsel the patient well. The patient as well as the guardians have to be counseled, because it is clearly mentioned in the literature that whatever drug for whatever period, for whatever duration of time is not going to eliminate the disease. It is just going to suppress it. And as long as you give the drug, she's relieved of her symptoms. And when you stop the drug, the symptoms recur. So this has to be very clearly mentioned. This has to be very clearly explained to the patient as well as the guardians that, see, this is a symptomatic treatment. This is temporary suppression of hormones. And when the hormones will be withdrawn, she may be required to give different drugs in different phases of her life. As after marriage, she may be needed to change the drug, or during pregnancy or during lactation, she may be given a different course of drugs. So this has to be clearly explained to the patient.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Dr. Ekika, what was the size of that adenomyotic lesion?
What is
Size was not
of that
mentioned.
nodule.
size is near about
Size was mentioned,
2.5 to 1.8 centimeters.
Matlab it's small.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
below
not very
3.
small, but it's about 2.5
As
centimeters.
small, we'll go for medical treatment first, and then we have to explain the patient that it is a long-term treatment and the safety profile, what are the side effects, and if it fails, then you go for surgical treatment, or the second line drugs and the surgical treatment. Yes, that's.
Just two things I want to ask everyone over here. Basically, ये purposely लिखा है हमने 6 injection of triptylin. जैसे आपने देखा nodular adenomyosis के basically treatment में दिए जाता है. But do you think everyone should know whether age is an important factor to start injections for any patient?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
DNRH analogs, we should not give below 16 years of age, because first of all, it has severe hypoestrogenic symptoms like hot flashes, vaginal dryness.
Yes.
Then it has effect on the bone. Until the patient has attained the maximal bone density at a particular age, it should be avoided. So we should best avoid it below 16 years of age. And even at this adolescent period, first line of treatment should always be your progestogens or OC pills. And if that fails, or there is any other problem, then we can go for second line drug. I mean, if the patient does not respond to them.
For OC pills,
Before density is attained, we should avoid, or we should give some advac therapy if it is needed to prevent its action on.
but for OC pills, there is always a controversy because they contain estrogen also.
No, ma'am,
And,
but actually the amount of estrogen in OCPs is so small, it is not going to
Yes.
affect the bone growth. So
No, not
COC is-
not for bone, not for bone, for exacerbation of endometriosis part.
What they say
Yeah,
is
because
it is
even the
actually
low dose
estrogen
OCPs,
dependent.
which we have,
हाँ,
that has
they,
also 4 to 6 times more estrogen than the
yes,
physiological estrogen in the body.
yes,
So
yes,
what happens is that there is a particular curve, particular optimal period. I mean, the level of estrogen, say between 30 to 50, which is optimal, where there will be no effect on the bone. And if you go above that level, there will be the action of the estrogen will proliferate the endometrium and it will further worsen the disease.
yes,
If we can maintain
Yes,
the
because
estrogen level between, like we are giving progesterone like Dynogest, that maintains the estrogen somewhere around 40 picogram per ml. So it does not affect the bone, and it has got a good progestational effect also. But some OC pills, like if the hormone levels are increased, it may have a deleterious effect. Like
yes.
that's what
yeah,
we
and moreover, estrogen dependent conditions. So why we are adding more estrogen when we can give progesterone only?
But
Although,
Yes,
what I
although there are, that has to be privileged, ma'am.
no,
Because
we
what
are
I feel
giving
that,
OC pills because they are cheaper. Everybody cannot afford Dynogest.
yeah, affordability is
We are
one issue.
giving OC pills
But
because of
OCP
cheaper and they are safe.
OCP also has got one advantage, that it is more, it seems more physiological to the patient, as the young patients are very much concerned about their periods, and the regularity of periods is very important to them. So if we give a drug that stops their periods altogether for 3 to 6 months, they are really concerned what is happening to them. Have they developed some other disease? Or so this has to be individualized. If the patient is educated, she can understand that, okay, this is a consequence of the hormones I am given, then it's okay. But in many patients, it's impossible to explain. In those cases, we can begin with, apart from the cost, it's one very important factor. But
No,
yes,
no,
if the
that's true.
patient is not comfortable with amenorrhea, we can put her on OCP as well.
For endometriosis, even when we give OC pills, it is always better to give it as a continuous therapy
Continuous
rather than
therapy.
cyclical. So anyway, the
Continuous.
menstruation will stop with OC
one
pills
thing I want
also.
to add, आप बात ठीक कह रहे हैं, but these drugs too, it is good to give them continuous. और जब आप घर वालों को और जो भी patient है उसको जब when we
Counsel कर,
counsel करते हैं, so they understand that it is because of their disease that they are not getting their periods. And I think I have given this to a young, obviously this was not an adenomyotic patient, she was endometriotic, अच्छा खासा stage 3 endometriosis था. 6 to 8 months लगातार I had given her medicine, and she knew, she was told in hand कि you might not have menses. Maybe after 2 cycles, continuous cycles, आपके menses बंद हो जाएंगे और शुरू में शायद आपको irregular spotting होगी. So probably after this case, we just have come to a conclusion that adenomyosis does not mean that it is surgery always. First and foremost, medical management should be tried, and it should start with NSAIDs, then your medical magistrate COC or progesterone, whichever individualized basis. With this, if patient is elderly, maybe in a state जहां आपको लगता है कि oral जो है bioavailability नहीं है ड्रग की, या oral intake patient का proper और regular नहीं रह सकता है, their depot injections can be given barring she has crossed the age of bone maturity. And if it is given for a longer time, then an add-back therapy has to be started to the patient for this. So anything extra anyone want to add in this?
It's okay.
So it can be successfully treated with any of the medical management. Preferably Dynogest is like the thing which is being now very well tested and tried. So its long therapy also doesn't have much of effect. So it can be used as a medical therapy for the patients. So these are few things which I wanted to ask you. What are the undesirable effect of triptyline treatment? Abhi mere khayal se somebody has told us, and if it is there, if a patient, not this patient, any patient you decide to take her on injections of triptyline or any of GnRH agonist for 6 to 8 months, तो पेशेंट को काउंसिल करते समय आप क्या बताएंगे और क्या चीज और ऐड ऑन कर सकते हैं आप इसमें?
Actually, for 8 months, so we never give. 8 months we never give. Usually we give for 3 months only. I prefer for 3 months only. And the undesirable effects are many. First of all, we should take a history what drugs a patient is taking, because there are certain drugs The antiarrhythmics also. This triptorelin in a higher dose or in a dose which we give can lead to arrhythmia, cardiac problems. Besides what Babita already said, that she might have osteoporosis and hot flashes and other the menopausal symptoms which the lady has. We should check her lipid profile also, and bone density should be assessed before giving, because we are preferably giving it to the ladies who are 35 and more. And the other medical problems, other drugs should be taken care of, and then only and diabetes should be checked, because these drugs can cause hyperglycemia, altered lipid, arrhythmia. They can increase the QT interval, etc. So these are the problems, undesirable effects of triptorelin.
So, and 3 months, basically 3 months. Everyone is agreeing they give it for 3 months, or anybody is given?
We can safely
months,
give
we
it for
can give
6
months. 6
We
months.
can give safely
6 months.
without
Without any
for 6
problem, or
months.
without
Yes.
problem of heart
No,
pressure.
there is always problem. There will be always problem, because there is a sudden hypoestrogenemia. And
Yes.
because of sudden hypoestrogenemia, there will be postmenopausal symptoms like hot flashes, vaginal dryness. But they all will disappear as soon as we will stop this treatment. But we are mainly concerned for the loss of bone mineral density in these patients, because this loss of bone mineral density is only recover partially after stopping the treatment. So whenever we give any generic agonist, we should add back
Yes.
therapy along with the generic agonist. And this add back therapy, we have many options. I usually prefer Premarin 0.625 milligram along with norethistron 5 mg, or we can give ethinyl estradiol 2 mg along with MPA 5 mg. We can add simultaneously as soon as we start treatment, or we can add after second month. Second, we should add calcium 1000.
Yes.
These patients, they will and routine DEXA for this bone marrow density measurement is not required until we give it for 9 months or 12 months, because we mainly give it for 6 months, but rarely there are some conditions we may have to give it for 9 months. So there are very rare situations where patient not responding to anything. So in that time, when we give for longer time, then only DEXA is required to do. Otherwise, when we are giving for 6 months, DEXA is not required to be done.
When we are giving it to the ladies who are of higher age group, and that is my opinion and what I do in my practice. That is what I'm telling. And we should add.
You're right, Dr. Amita, for first 3 months, even 3 to 4 months.
No.
ये जो symptoms हैं, they don't appear so early. Basically, most of the time, these symptoms are seen after 6 injections, continuous 6 injections.
I'm not talking about young patients.
Especially bone pain
Perimenopausal
doesn't
patients.
appear.
They're compromised in bone density. You mean to say
Yeah,
that? No?
I'm not talking about young patients.
So for how long
But it is also said when you stop it after 6 months, then after 18 to 24 months, the majority of the bone density is recovered. I mean, I'm reading it somewhere that it takes 18 to 24 months, but not completely, but yes, most of it.
But never.
But then, till then, the patient is at a risk, like increased risk of fractures and fall and spontaneous fractures. So it is better to give an add-back therapy. And
we should not forget bisphosphonates. They are preferred for the bone loss. They are the preferred drugs.
So how long a Dynogest can be given? Has anyone tried
2 years. 2 years.
Dynogest can safely
maximum.
be given for 2 years. Now there are trials that it can be given for 5 years also.
Yes.
But we see that most of the patients, there is complete remission of 40% of the symptoms are relieved, like after giving for 6 months. And by 2 years, most of the symptoms are relieved. So if you give it for a longer duration, the disease is remitted and the recurrence is.
Any rule of adding any
after which it recovers.
Bone demineralization, that is what actually there was a study on that.
Hello?
Hello.
Repeat.
Yes, please, Dr.
Yes,
Rita.
please repeat. Please repeat.
Repeat. Actually, you are not audible.
You're asking me?
Yes,
Actually,
yes, please repeat.
Yeah, Dr.
Repeat.
Babita, there was a study done on Dynogest in which Dynogest was given for 72 months continuously, and they have
Yes.
tried to find out what is the side effects which are there. So
Yes.
there were patients who had some bone demineralization.
Yes.
So what
When
they said, just is given for a longer time. 5 years से ऊपर में they causes this, बस लेकिन अगर 2 साल से कम का है, so adjuvant therapy, Dynogest is absolutely safe.
Yes. Because when you give it for a longer time, two important side effects. One is the effect on the bone, and other it also causes coagulation. Two things when you give it for a very long period. But what is it is said is that when you give Dynogest in the dose of 2 milligram per day, it keeps the estrogen level within that optimal range of 30 to 50. So the bone loss will not be much affected. But yes, those patients who are already compromised and you're giving it for a longer duration, there might be bone loss.
So I think everything is clear, and as Dr. Babita already said, near about in 3 to 6 months, most of the symptoms they start disappearing.
Yeah.
And the one which goes first.
And one more thing I want to add, although we have said, we talk about it regularly that the disease never remits, but the symptoms usually remit for a long time. If we give Dynogest, etc., for a year or for a year and a half, patients are symptom free for a very long time, even after stopping the drug. We have seen that.
The longer
So
you
now
give,
this is the second.
the recurrence interval becomes bigger, like they recur after a longer time.
Now this is another question. 30-year-old woman with dysmenorrhea for 4 months, and on ultrasound, she was found to have right side detected on right side posterior wall of uterus. This mass. Laparoscopy was performed. A bumpy mass was discovered protruding from the surface of the uterine myometrium. The cyst was completely removed. 1 month later, the uterus was found to be normal and no longer experiencing dysmenorrhea. With this female, there is no problem of issue. She had a problem of severe dysmenorrhea, and on ultrasound, she was found to have one cystic mass, not a cystic mass, which had a cystic appearance in the posterior wall of the uterus. So, my question is laparoscopic surgery an effective method, or can dysmenorrhea disappear after laparoscopy? What do you suggest? Is this effective, or we could have tried it differently in this patient with the mass measuring the size of near about 10 into 5 into 6?
Surgery is the answer, Akika, because any mass above 3 centimeters in size, surgical treatment is indicated. Laparoscopy is the best, and first surgery should be a complete surgery. That is what everybody says. So everybody is not trained enough to do laparoscopy for endometriosis patients. So it has to be an expert surgeon, and symptoms disappear. But even after laparoscopic surgery or the complete removal, some surgeons prefer giving triptorelin treatment to the patients for 3 cycles.
So probably, Dr. Rita, anything else you would like to add? What about the surgery when you are taking this patient for surgery? You have decided it's a big mass. She has no family issue problem, and 10 centimeter mass obviously need a operation. So what should be your pre-operative advice, and the consent? What is the important points in consent which should be taken care of?
So it is a case of cystic adenomyoma. Preoperatively, we can give generous agonist for 3 cycles to this patient, but usually it will not respond in cystic adenomyoma. But we can try, so there will be less bleeding during surgery. And in cystic adenomyoma, mostly there is a complete surgery. We get well-defined margins in cystic adenomyoma. And during surgery, we can usually it is, if it's an expert, I don't think that there will be any problem in laparoscopy surgery for cystic adenomyoma. But we should remember that adenomyosis is mainly of diffuse. Most common type of adenomyosis is diffuse adenomyosis. So laparoscopic surgery is good for nodular or the cystic type of adenomyoma, but it is not good for the diffuse adenomyosis. And we should remember diffuse adenomyosis is most common type of adenomyosis where we will not get well defined nodular or cystic adenomyosis. And in case of diffuse adenomyosis, laparotomy I will prefer over laparoscopy.
Dr. Pratima, anything you want to add in prerequisites, counseling of the patient, and what is the thing which is required, and what is the important consent part? In the
consent part is she's a 38 years female. She is middle aged, neither too young nor too old. So, and the mass is quite big. So, consent, provisional consent for hysterectomy should be taken in case she bleeds or it comes out to be a myoma. Many cases, the red degeneration of myoma can also present like that, because it can have a cystic consistency. But in that case, the descent will not be there. There will be a pain only. Like it will not be associated with this dysmenorrhea. So the other differential diagnosis we should concern before deciding the mode of surgery. Laparoscopy is good because it is less invasive surgery. It is minimal invasive surgery. So it is good in this age group, as we can excise the cyst and leaving behind the uterus. We can save the uterus in this way.
So Dr. Babita, anything you want?
Laparoscopy, like it's a big mass, and whatever the findings are, they are showing just a single mass. The rest of the uterus they're showing as normal. So we do not expect it to be a diffuse one. So since it is localized, and now many surgeons are trained in, they are actually the experts in laparoscopy surgery. So it can be dealt well with laparoscopy. It gives a very good vision, minimal complications. Post-operatively, the patient is post-operatively discharged very soon and has a good sense of well-being. And since it is just nodular, if you remove the nodule, the patient will be relieved of the symptoms. And during laparoscopy, if we do not find any other endometriotic lesions, like adenomyosis can be associated with endometriosis also. So we have to be very careful that after removing, we have to keep a look on other in the pelvis cavity. You have to look for other endometric patches. If you find other patches, if possible, we should excise them or at least fulgurate them. But then if it is more diffuse and not possible, just if you have removed adenomyotic nodule and there are no other endometric patches, we did not give GnRH agonist or damages, whatever it is. But if there is associated findings, then we have to give a post-operative therapy of GnRH agonist or damages, whatever we prefer. And what I wanted to say is, she is 38 years lady and she's not concerned with fertility. Can you put an LNG IUS? Since it is nodular cystic, I'm a bit apprehensive about LNG IUS. But then with large adenomyosis 16, also I've seen that they regress very well. So what is your opinion on this? I wanted to know.
Probably, I mean, see, if you ask me, though I am not a laparoscopic surgeon, but I do have a very good team, and with such a big mass.
Yes.
See, you put even LNZ IUCD. For it to work, it will take at least 3 months effectively to adjust and to control her decision. It will not be controlled in 1 month.
No.
And then the regression of mass will again take a lot of time. And and now laparoscopy is something which is, a patient-friendly surgery. With 3 small holes, you can take it out and patient can go home. So if I am given a choice, I will try to counsel her more for a laparoscopy.
Yes.
Since it is nodular, we'll go for laparoscopy. But such a big size of uterus with adenomyosis and no nodularity, then I think LNG IUS will work better.
Yes, that is diffuse adenomyosis. LNJ IUCD is, I think, will do a wonderful work. Meantime, it will take at least 2 months time to start acting, because the way the progesterone reduces and goes. So by during that time, for pain relief or something complicated. To this, I want to add two things. First and foremost, Dr. Rita, I mean, there are two schools of thought. regarding pre-treatment, hormonal treatment before surgery.
Yes.
Some of the doctors and some of the papers and the evidence says that it distorts the plane. As
Yes.
such, in adolescent patients, it is difficult to find the plane. If you give them pre-treatment for regression, it sometimes distorts the plane and it becomes difficult for surgeon to operate on it. So they now have to come up with the thing, you remove the whatever tissue you can remove, how much ever you can remove, being it nodular or cystic or a diffuse, whatever, decision is being taken up for surgery. Post-op treatment is more effective.
Yes.
Uh,
And at the time of surgery, vasopressin, when it is given, it
Yes,
gives
it
good
gives
plane and less
vasopressin.
bleeding and it very good surgical
So
results.
that is what I wanted to ask in counseling patients. We have to counsel for three things.
One more point, Etika, I can add one more point for
Yes.
pre-treatment. One is that the pain will be disturbed. And second is if there is associated endometriosis, those lesions will regress if we are giving pre-treatment, and then they
Yes.
might end up post-surgery, and we will not be able to detect them properly or during the surgery. So pre-treatment, this is another reason for not giving pre-treatment GnRH. Yes.
So the counseling part which I want to say, which is very important, which I follow at my center. First and foremost, there could be consent for hysterectomy as entailed in very undesirable state and critical state. Secondly, because it's an incision, it's a surgery in which it is maybe it's a system. Sometimes complete removal is not possible. So they have to be explained this thing also. Though we try, and by the appearance on an MRI or on a CT scan, it should be removed completely. But it's only when we go in, then only we can tell. This is the thing which is very important to them. And third, the blood. Importance of blood. You might have a patient with who might bleed even in
Yeah.
adenomyosis. The chances ज़्यादा होते हैं. So consent for blood, consent for hysterectomy, or consent for some sort of incomplete, which is very much,
Yeah.
which can be there even with a very good laparoscopic surgeon. So these three things have to be kept in mind. And with that, yes, of course, I would also go in such a laparoscopic surgery. And if somebody is not very good with laparoscopy and patient wants immediate relief, then even with laparotomy, if you can go and put vasopressin and try to remove it, that is also well and fine. That is also well and fine for the patient. So, yes, ma'am, Dr. Amrita, ma'am, आप कुछ बताना चाह रहे थे?
नहीं, यही बोल रही थी. Laparotomy is good enough when if you have taken a consent for hysterectomy and patient has no objections. But when we have to remove, since it's a posterior wall cyst, a posterior wall cyst is better seen and removed laparoscopically because we can see the whole wall. So for this kind of case, laparoscopy is the best answer. Rest, counseling, etc., and everything is fine. It's good.
And yes, dysmenorrhea disappears after laparoscopy. Can we say it simply? Or
Yeah,
do we need to add that? Do we need to add GnRH for sometimes? Do you think you add or you just
yeah, I do.
Yes, yes.
I do give my patients when we are doing these kind of surgeries, we definitely give GnRH for 3 months. Even after myomectomies also, I prefer giving GnRH for another 3.
Anyone
Yes.
else?
Yes, actually, after removing such a large mass, definitely the pain relief, there is chances, as you told, there is chances of remaining some tissue. So GnRH agonist should be given for 3 to 6 months in these patients.
And somehow it helps in conception also. If it's an infertile patient, even GnRH agonists, when they are given post-op and then the patient recovers, they conceive easily. We have seen that.
Probably all the mass and everything, the pathology has regressed so much. And
Yes.
as such, if you're doing a laparoscopy on uterus, 3 months of probation period is required. You cannot tell them to conceive. So during
Yeah.
that period, either you can give them an OCP or maybe Dynogest or maybe
GnRH.
so that period that adds to the benefit of the surgery and the patient gets maximum relief.
Yeah.
So cystic adenomyosis is clinically characterized by the appearance of one or more cystic cavities between the walls of the uterine muscle. Laparoscopic surgery is an effective method for the diagnosis and treatment of large cystic mysis in the uterine and then giving them relief. So, are NSAIDs or OCPs appropriate therapy for management of endometriosis? This is one question which has popped up. So, I want everyone to tell me. As such, आपने पहले ही बता दिया है, Dr. Babita Amita ma'am. NSAID is followed by OCPs and progesterone. So, this is the medical treatment which is either चाहे endometriosis हो, चाहे adenomyosis हो, followed in young patients, followed in all those cases where masses are not big enough. If I get it, madam, मैं आपसे पूछती हूँ, endometriosis में अगर आपके पास patient है और उसका endometrium 10 सेंटीमीटर का है, तो still will you go for medical treatment or surgical? What according to you is the cutoff for any endometrium also?
3
Dr.
centimeters.
See, it depends upon for what reason she has come to us for treatment. Suppose she wants to conceive.
It could be for infertility, it could be for pain.
Yes. Suppose she has come for infertility, then we will measure her AMH and we'll see her AMH values. If the AMH values are too low and she's trying since a long time and she's unable to conceive, then and we try to remove the endometrioma, then they might AMH value might decrease further. So we can go if the patient agrees. And there are other problems, we can go for IVF, leaving the mass as such.
10 centimeters mass you need as such. Any mass which is 10
If it does
centimeters.
not come in the, if it does not come in the way of oocyte retrieval, then there is no harm. I mean, obviously you will
No.
preserve
Any endometrioma of 5 centimeter or more than 5 centimeter, it should be removed. It should be removed, and
No,
because we have to exclude malignancy also, and such a large mass pelvic cavity, it will induce other secondary complications like adhesion
that is true for
formation.
all other
rupture.
patients. But I'm talking about those patients who are unable to conceive and infertility patients.
Dr.
It is
Babita,
if unilateral.
such a large endometrioma will definitely affect the oocyte quality. Will
Yes.
definitely
And if it is, we leave it. It's such a
Yes.
large endometrioma itself compromise the ovarian reserve because it will compress the normal oocyte preservation of the ovary. So such a large endometrioma, it will cause reduced ovarian reserve because it will compress the normal.
Furthermore, even
Then,
IVF won't give good results.
Yeah, because the
You need to-
other growth
Endo-
factors which are released by this will hamper the cycle,
Yeah.
will hamper the qualities of the cycle.
Moreover, ma'am, I think the risk of torsion will be there. With such big mass.
endometriomas, they usually don't undergo torsion.
No, torsion is not the
Adhesions
case.
and all that.
Yeah,
But
and
any
Okay,
endometrioma,
okay, like if the
Endometrioma-
AMH values are compromised, we can preserve the egg, then remove the endometrioma and do later on we can do a frozen site, FET. How is that?
yes,
yeah, that is okay.
ART now we have many options, but
Yes.
endometrioma of
So
10
what
centimeter.
I want to say is
Ah.
keep the eggs so
Okay,
that you
okay.
get,
Yes,
if the
yes.
AMH is very much reduced and later you do not get the eggs, then everything is lost. Removing the patient will say, I'm not conceiving.
Okay, but Akika's question was, what is the
Mhm.
cutoff? What is the
Okay, yes,
cutoff in
that-
size? Okay, so the answer to this is that anything above 3 centimeters, we start counseling the patient. We say that any endometrioma above 3 centimeters needs a surgery. That is my opinion, but definitely above 5 surgery is indicated.
Now they have made it 4
Oh.
centimeter. Most of the guidelines.
More than 4 centimeter.
Okay.
So probably these were the only two things which we wanted to discuss: the medical management and surgical management.
Rita, what do you say?
Me,
About
Cutoff.
cutoff of the size of adenomyoma for the surgery.
Endometrioma.
For me or asking? More than 5.
Final answer.
Final answer.
It has to be more than 5 centimeter. Then the should be.
Okay.
There are a lot of things that, attached with it. There could be inflammation, and since it's a progressive disease, young patients, working people sometimes take their medicines. By the time they come to you next time, it is already, that's it. They start thinking of reproduction, it goes on one side. So probably 5 centimeter and above, I generally advise them removal. If they ask me, no, madam, we want to, then yes, the basket is open. It's not a must, but the basket is open. Depends upon the compliance. 10 centimeter तो मतलब anyway, मेरे यहाँ करो.
Only for the patients who want a child by any means. I mean, I wanted to create some confusion in the panel. कुछ out of the box सोचने का कोशिश कर रहे थे.
There is this is a case report, laparoscopic treatment of a large uterine cystic adenomyosis in young patient. This patient was 28-year-old. He had gradually increasing severity and duration of dysmenorrhea, which would last 7 to 8 days. Her response to NSAIDs was poor and hospitalization. Her scan showed thick walled hypoechoic mass, which was 4 into 3.5 centimeter. This is just a simple case report I'm just shown. Adenomyosis diagnosis was based, and then laparoscope was inserted into the abdomen cavity for whatever it is reason, and laparoscopic was done. Since many patients with cystic adenomyosis are young, a minimal invasive procedure such as laparoscopic excision can be considered preferable. This was published in 2015. So probably
Okay, join करें प्रीतम का क्या दिमाग वो join करें घूमो से बोला
and this is again a case contrary to the other one which we read. अभी जो हम लोग बात कर रहे थे मेरे पास आता तो शायद मैं वेट ना करती इतना. But this is a 31-year-old 9 centimeter adnexal cyst, never had pregnancy, right ovary was affected by cystic. Surgical intervention was proposed, but the patient was referred because of severe complication leading to coma occurred after general anesthesia in childhood. She had some problem of GA, so she didn't want to go for surgery. So she was then started on Dynogest 2 milligrams to reduce the mass size. So can Dynogest be used to avoid surgeries? Now my second question. Though I am in a state where I find if it is more than 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters to be removed. But as you said, you said there are cases in which you might not go for surgery. Like in her case, she cannot.
Yes,
and she does not want. So can that be given?
Yes, ideally, what should happen? This patient should remove adenomyoma, and we should advise the patient to complete her family as soon as possible. That what should be done in this patient. And I don't think she had a complication before in childhood. The allopathy is most advanced. Now we have drugs. So we can counsel, and we can do the sensitivity test with the anesthetic drugs. And we can definitely, what should be done in this patient is the removal of this endometrioma, followed by advice for the completion of the family as soon as possible. So what should be done this patient? Now, before keeping this patient on the cystic mass, on the medical therapy, one should be very sure that it is an endometrioma, or it is not any benign cyst adenoma, it is not a malignant. So IOTA scoring should be done prior to starting keeping the patient on medical therapy. And by IOTA scoring, by assessing the mass by ultrasound morphological features, we differentiate is it benign or malignant. So if it is a benign, we should differentiate either it is endometrioma or other benign. There is a characteristic findings by ultrasound. So if we sure that it is endometrioma and the patient, she had a previous history, we want to delay the surgery. Meanwhile, if we are sure that it is endometrioma, we can use Dynogest, because Dynogest is found to be very effective in reducing the symptoms, remission of the symptoms, and reducing the size of endometrioma. But till the time when we are using this medical therapy, as soon as we will stop this medical therapy, it will again gain its size. And the patient is 31-year-old, she had no issue. I don't think in this particular case we should advise for such a long medical therapy, and we want to avoid the patient by medical treatment. The surgery and then conceive, it's the only option for this patient. So in this patient,
What is
we
the
should
age
not
of the patient?
31. And
At
so
She's
in this,
so issues, the only reason why she doesn't want to go for surgery is because she had a childhood, went into coma after a general anesthesia. So the
So
whole
in this
family.
She was
case,
a regional anesthesia. We needn't give her general anesthesia now. What
we have, there is a allopathy is most advanced pathy now. So
Laparoscopy is usually done in general anesthesia only.
they are doing
Yes,
in
yes.
regional also. I'm
So
like
this is a very macroscopic question. In this particular patient, we should not try to avoid the surgery by medical treatment. In this patient, she has to undergo treatment surgery and completing her family. Otherwise, in other cases, if we are sure that it is endometrioma, Dynogest can be tried if she's young and she doesn't need fertility in recent years. She's young adolescent or a young woman doesn't desire to fertility, immediate fertility preservation. She doesn't retire. Then can we try to avoid surgery by Dynogest?
So just to answer this question in short, Dynogest can be given to avoid surgery in poor surgical risk patients. That is all.
In a high risk surgical patient.
Yes.
it can be given. So this is a case report. It's not a case as such which I want, because it's a case report interesting, so we put it up. This patient as such, because of this, she was started on medical management. So they found there was decrease in dimension of cyst and reduction. After 5 months, she found symptom were absent. She was administered Dynogest for 20 months. So it is effective. It can be used to avoid surgery and reducing the size and the symptoms. But yes, once again, as Dr. Rita said, I totally second her opinion. It entirely depends from case to case. And in her case, if I had been the person to check, I would have definitely counseled her for the surgery, because she doesn't have a issue also. But then every time, whatever we tell to the patient, we give the basket of options which we give to them. So it is for them to decide. And if your patient says, no, I want to go with this first, and by giving a medical treatment, you are not jeopardizing her life, then I don't think so there is any problem in giving her a treatment or a. So as far as medical or surgical managements are concerned for cases of adenomyosis and as far as endometriosis, though we have clear-cut guidelines, we do have clear-cut lines on many things, but still patients fall in gray zone. In that gray zone, it entirely depends on your individual clinical expertise, your individual instinct, and then patient's decision what to be followed. So this is again a case report and a literature review of this patient, which was 30-year-old primary gravida. She had posterior wall tumor. Her first pregnancy was terminated. Patient was experiencing catamenial dysphagia and hematuria for 2 months prior to pregnancy. She also complained of mild dysmenorrhea, but no dyspareunia or bowel symptoms. For this patient, the pelvic examination revealed decreased uterine mobility and nodularity on right anterior fornix as well as on left posterior fornix along the uterosacral ligament. Transvaginal scan was performed. A solid endometriotic mass showing internal vascularity on color Doppler with spiculated intraluminal margin at the point of protrusion through the bladder mucosa in the posterior bladder wall. Patient conceived and was delivered by cesarean section. At the time of cesarean section, 3 centimeter endometriotic nodule was identified over the bladder. 3 months after delivery, medical management with Dynogest was started. The patient remained asymptomatic throughout the course of her management, and a transvaginal ultrasound performed after 16 months of treatment showed greater than 50% reduction of volume of bladder endometriotic lesion. Dynogest may be one of the options for medical management of deep endometriosis in young women, especially when surgical intervention is declined. So this is one case report which they had shown to me. So probably we sometimes, that is what I said, we sometimes fall in a situation where when we have to operate, either it is difficult to operate or it is at a place that it might lead to damage to the other organs, pelvic organs. So these are the cases where I feel that medical treatment once again comes and play a good role. So not only this patient, one of my patients had come with the history of hematuria during the menses, and I had given her Dynogest for 10 months. Then she hasn't responded, came back again to me. But after 4 months of treatment, she started having relief, and she came to me once after 8 months of treatment, and she was absolutely fine. Unfortunately, I lost Apollo because she hasn't recovered because of COVID and all. She hasn't come back. So I have seen in many cases of deep endometriosis, instead of being bold surgeon and to go in and damage the organs, medical management does help in those cases. So I want to take from all of you before ending the session that in deep infiltrating endometriosis, what is that should be followed, what is that which is followed, and what is that you think is the right option? Any one of you.
Yeah, for the rectovaginal nodule or deep-seated endometrioma, where we see that there are chances of injury to ureter, etc. at the time of surgery, we can try medical treatment for a long time, and then we can take the patient for surgery if she's not responding after a good counseling, that she might need bypass surgeries also.
So probably there is a new school of thought which is coming up, even among the laparoscopic surgeons, those surgeries which might lead to more harm, because the section and rest of the thing, they are trying medical management and for longer duration, 16 months, 20 months, 22 months, and we have really found improvement. There is no asset guideline which I can say or recommendation, but if you go and see, there are a lot of papers and case reports which are mentioning that in DIA this was given for 16 months, 18 months, 24 months. Recently, I was listening to the lecture of Dr. Aba Majumdar ma'am. It was an SR topic. And she told, there was one paper presentation in ASRM by a doctor from Australia. She said this patient was having endometriosis, Gathi endometriosis. They did a pickup and they froze her embryo, and they gave her GnRH agonist for 12 months. Till that time, there was regression of the disease. She had adenomyosis, diffuse adenomyosis with endometriosis. So they gave her GnRH for 12 months till the time they found that the uterus is next to normal state. Because what she had said that in her paper, anything which is not normal can lead to RAF. So what if we continue a treatment, medical treatment for a longer time and see what happens? Obviously for 12 months when they gave it with proper add-back therapies. And after 12 months, the size of the uterus was somehow as normal as it was before. And then they did an embryo transfer for her, she conceived. So they have a series of case reports and studies in which they have given even GnRH for a longer duration of time. And their only basis of giving it that till the time you cannot get the uterus in a normal, in a what do you say? In a
Anatomical.
In a hibernating state, it is not inflamed, it is not bulky. The disease has absolutely regressed to a state of less than 20%, more than 80% degrees is regressed. So they have given it for such long and monitored everything in the patient, and whatever add-ons were required was given. The patient was according to them absolutely fine, and then the transfer was done and the patient has conceived. So
actually,
yes,
nowadays, because everyone know that endometriosis and adenomyosis, they're long-term disorder. So now there are more and more inclination towards prolonging the medical treatment or surgery. So it is now a new, we still don't have well-controlled RCTs, but we have many small case series, multiple small case series and meta-analysis on that medical treatment for longer period, we can achieve fertility, the symptoms for long time in these patients, keeping them on the medical treatment, giving them 3-4 month holiday in between. And so there is more and more trends towards postponing the surgery for as long as possible.
So this was management of painful endometriosis in adolescents, a guideline. So Dynogest and GnRH agonists are the only treatment specifically evaluated for treatment of adolescent endometriosis. They reduce the pain associated with endometriosis. Add-back therapy containing estrogen improves bone mineral density and quality of life in young women treated with GnRH agonist. Medical treatment of endometriosis in adolescents is associated with risk related to young age if the treatment is given for a longer time. So probably I would like to thank everyone, and then I would like everyone to what a take-home message. Basically, I will compile for everyone medical management of adenomyosis or endometriosis, specifically in young patients and in EIE, where you find that the surgery is very difficult or maybe lead to damage to the other organs, should be given. Medical management should be starting with NSAIDs, COCs, and Dynogest or maybe progestins, which is given. GnRH agonist is beneficiary and can be given for a longer duration also with proper add-back therapy. And when the adenomyotic is nodular, cystic, or maybe it is totally confined and it is in a larger size, then surgical modalities should be sort of taken as the first primary. So anybody wants to add on to this, please do add on your experiences. Amrita ma'am, starting with
Yes, just one thing, that I'm very careful with the patients when I'm giving GnRH therapy, and I'm very particular about the drugs which they are taking along with the GnRH, and whether they are euglycemic or not. And I do take care of their lipid profiles and I get them checked. So that is my protocol usually.
Pratima, Dr. Pratima.
Ma'am, I prefer usually oral drugs because GnRH you have to do a lot of monitoring. So as far as possible, I try to give oral progestins and not GnRH.
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
But
So what is your take on Dynogest is costly? We know that like 1 month therapy costs around 3,300 or 500, something like that. So the one which has come with estradiol, though we estradiol we don't like to give in endometriosis, like Fides 30 and all that. That contains Dynogest along with estradiol, and that is cheap also because it is used as an contraception. So can we use that?
Ma'am, it can be given, but
can be given.
I'm
giving because I'm giving and I'm getting good results.
No, ma'am.
I just
Can be
wanted
given.
because I'm giving because it is cheap. Patients are like Dynogest. When we try to give after 3 months or 4 months, patient gets fidgety. Ki matlab itna costly ho raha hai. And Fides 30. I shouldn't be using brand names. Combination of Dynogest and estradiol, they become cheap because they are used as contraception. So the Dynogest part is doing well and the estrogen component is low. And I've given to several patients and we are getting good results. Like maybe we should be doing more study on this. And second thing, what I want to say is ormelexifin, one drug, which causes amenorrhea. So what is your take on that? I mean, other panelists, what is their take on that?
Best drug.
I find it to be very good.
I use it left and
like
right.
out of the box. These things are not mentioned. I'm just telling that.
Ormelexifin.
I like ormelexifin.
Yes.
It is good. And third thing is that we haven't mentioned anything about scar endometriosis. What is the role of medical therapy in scar endometriosis?
It doesn't work.
We have to go for surgery only.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I think
surgical.
yes, surgical removal.
Yeah,
in
and
one
for a long time.
Medical therapy.
In one case, triptorelin worked. In one of my cases, she wasn't ready for surgery.
Okay.
So I gave her for 3 months and later she conceived. And like at the time of cesarean, I removed the endometriotic part, which I could recognize at that time. But that is the only case which I have witnessed, which responded. Else, I have always done a surgery for scar endometriosis.
Yes, absolutely agree. Absolutely.
So what
Because
you
in one of
find
my
the cheap
patients-
options are OC pills, but the Dynogest with estradiol because it becomes cheaper. What I feel, and it is a cheap and good drug and tested drug with minimal side effects.
Well,
I should-
I haven't
we
tried
should do
much.
more research on this. isn't it?
Yeah, but
No, madam, COC, they are also, if we see the effectivity part, this
Yes.
any COC, even in medical college we give Malayan. कि तुम
अच्छा।
3 पत्ते ले जाओ।
आप एमेनोरिया
सब
पिला
facility-
दोगे तो सब सिम्टम्स खत्म हो जाएंगे।
symptoms खत्म हो जाएंगे।
Continuous, तो
कंटिन्यूअसली मैम वो ईस्ट्रोजन का जो प्रॉब्लम है वो भी सॉल्व हो जाता है
हाँ,
बिकॉज
estrogen-
मैडम estrogen का
पूरा
problem
suppression कर देता
is
है।
not a big problem. COCs and only progestin, they almost they are equally effective in remission of the symptoms,
Yeah.
and they both are safe.
बट द
तो
थिंग इज
आप-
दैट जैसे माला एंड माला डी है मैम उसके थोड़े से साइड इफेक्ट्स वो जो उनकी जो अपनी प्रॉब्लम है वो है
Patient tolerance becomes difficult on long term treatment.
That's I'm talking about in
And
medical
that
college
patient-
when patient doesn't want to purchase drug and that time कि हमको यहाँ से
Adenomyosis.
मिल जाएगा क्या,
हाँ,
तो
that's
we
true.
give them.
Adenomyosis, diffuse adenomyosis, family complete LNG IUS is best. I feel
Yes.
diffuse adenomyosis and family is
One
complete.
one shot treatment.
LNG.
It is
Huh?
one shot treatment,
Yes.
one time treatment.
I have put in 3 patients and it has worked well. Like the uterus has
Yes.
almost come back to normal.
But in very big uteruses, the chances of expulsion are very
More
high.
than 12 weeks, we can put it up to 12 weeks
chances
size.
of expulsions are and secondly these in big uterus if you push NND which I have seen in my experience, so these patients have irregular spotting for a longer time, 3 to 4
Yes,
months
you
they
have to
might have
counsel those.
irregular spotting, so they are very
Madam,
much scared.
irregular spotting is problem of gynecologist also. For
Yes.
3 to 4 months, they have irregular bleeding. And
Yes.
पर वो
only
उनकी
after,
uterus में नहीं है ना, तो uterus वाली फिर भी कैंसिल कर देगा हमको। So gynecologist is oral and this is intrauterine. So with intrauterine everything they already have this thing in motion कि bleeding हो रहा है, अंदर कुछ गला हुआ है, हमको कैंसर हो जाए।
Cancer हो जाएगा. Every time the patient would come to me, she had this irregular bleeding कि निकाल दीजिए. हम बोले अच्छा चलो अगले महीने
निकाल
देंगे.
दीजिए,
And believe me,
निकाल
it came back to normal.
But they
I
have
mean,
to be
these are some
convinced. But
interesting
they are
experiences
convinced
which I'm
after
sharing.
3 to 4 months, I feel LNZ has really done a wonderful job. But for initial 2 to 3 months, and depending upon the size of the uterus, bigger the size, chances of expulsions are very high. And even regularization and amenorrhea is being reached after 4 months, 4 to 5 months. During that period, they have that irregular spotting, which if can be counseled properly, maybe good. Because sometimes I had one patient who had continuous spotting for whole 1 month. I had given her anti-histamine, hematinics and everything I had given her, but somehow it was not controlled. I had to start her on additional oral progesterones to control. It didn't get controlled with that, and somehow I failed in my counseling, and it had to be removed. So there are few cases, but they doesn't form the bulk. So I think, as you said, Dr. Bhavita, LNZ specifically when family is complete, and you do not go for
What about Dimpa?
Oh, Dimpa se
Keep
bahut
options. It has got lots of irregular bleeding. I don't like that. Yes.
One of them came with amenorrhea for 2 years.
Yes,
Just use
I know
Dimpa.
that. One of my patients, yes, she had for 1.5 years, and she literally made me go mad. कि क्या किए मेरे साथ?
So I think with this, we end our session, and I hand it over to thank you for all the panelists for their wonderful inputs. It has been a very nice and what you can say energetic and absolutely beautiful discussion points which we discussed over here. So I would let me go over again to Dr. Kusum Verma ma'am.
Thank you for moderating the panel so well.
Thank you, Dr. Ekika and Dr. Kusum.
And Dr. Kusum, you gave us the opportunity. We are honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All panelists. And
Hello.
हाँ Pratik, there's a lot of disturbance.
Yes. So thank you so much, doctor. It was a really wonderful session. And I would like to add one more thing, like as we believe in all the scientific sessions and all. So I'm just sharing one invitation, like we are doing an international course on the endometriosis with the international speakers. So I'm just sharing one invitation, and I would like to invite you all on that session. It was conducted on 7th June. So yesterday only we have just started this flyer. It's a FIGO masterclass on endometriosis. just 10 days to go, and she is the speaker, Dr. Linda Giudis. She's a professor. It's from San Francisco, US. And the topic is that endocrine and environmental research affecting on the woman. It's a wonderful session. We are doing 6 lectures on the bi-monthly. So, and yes, I'm sure that Mr. Pankaj has already shared all the details with you. If you want to share this with your all other doctors also, you can share, and you can share your mail ID and number. I will register itself to you. And now I'm sharing this card on our CME group also. So you can share with your doctors and you all can join this. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam, for the session.
Thank you all the panelists, panel, and Prati, Augmentis, and Sanjay Bhattacharya and his team for organizing CME. It was very energetic, very informative, and thank you again all the Dr. Amita, Dr. Rita, Dr. Pavita, Dr. Pratima, and of course Dr. Etika.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. May all you stay safe, and may all of us come out of this corona fear and pandemic.
Will be definitely
Very
come
soon.
out of corona, and it definitely come down. It is coming down. Cases are coming down. And definitely.
Today, UP had only 2,200 cases, like on record.
No, don't talk about on record, madam, because
I mean, off record, it can be anything. Because I know so many, in a family, only one person gets tested and 10 of them are positive. So on record, like on record, it was 40,000. Now it is only 2,200.
देहरादून मेडिकल कॉलेज में जॉली ग्रांट में ये उसका पूरा हॉस्पिटल कोविड वार्ड था. Now only one ward is there. So
Yes.
definitely new cases are coming down. So at the end of June, we expect everything will be okay and will be safe.
Yes, ma'am. They are closing the private units also. They have closed the few
Yeah,
private
yeah.
hospitals. They have closed down Garg here.
Yeah.
And non-COVID कर दिया है उसको. So I think
केसेस कम होगा, रिपोर्टिंग ऑफ केसेस कम हो गए. भले आप कहें कि केसेस नहीं रिपोर्ट हो रहे हैं, लेकिन जो न्यू केसेस हॉस्पिटल्स में आ रहे थे वो कम हो गए.
एक महीना ही बहुत था. एक महीना से ज्यादा होता तो और कुछ हो जाता. Yes, they have come down, and I hope it stays like this forever. No third wave should be.
no third wave.
Thank you everyone for joining, and it's so nice to see all your faces again. Smiling faces. Stay smiling, keep smiling, stay healthy. And it's bye from my side. Sayonara to all of you. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye, doctors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Bhavita. Bye, Pratima.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.